Hello there! Today's video starts with some breakfast, especially suitable for cycling. It's March, so technically it's still winter, and I can feel that a lot when it's very cold, when it still gets dark very early. But there are also signs that spring is around the corner. Oh, first beautiful sight, maybe not so related to the seasons. A Panasonic vintage mountain bike, just as the one I have bought in January. Nice. Do you also appreciate something like this, or do you simply overlook it? I think both is fine. Alright, back to the topic. As you can see, I'm putting on my gloves, because, right, it's still winter. But with the sunlight and the birds chirping in the morning, in general more birds to hear, the signs of spring are all over the place. That's why I took my Brompton to work the whole week for this week again. When the weather conditions are too bad, I don't ride my Brompton because I want it to be enjoyable as well, not only riding. At this point, shout out to my friend Gabriel, who sent me this really nice sticker from Blue Luck in Japan. Hopefully it will help to protect me in traffic. And now something annoying, something negative about this part of the year. It's all grey again once we leave Munich. This is something I see very often. Sunshine in the city, you start your commute, and then it's grey once outside of the city. It would be more bearable if at least the trees were green, but nothing like that. So really grey everything. That's why I like to wear colorful socks from time to time, and also I like colorful bikes. All of that brings some color into play. Very much suiting the weather, there was a group of people that apparently was attending a funeral. I've somewhere heard it that some people or some culture divide seasons not into 4 seasons, but into many more small seasons, and find something good and pretty in all these many small seasons. I think something like 2 weeks per season. That's an interesting concept, I feel like. And let's try to find something that characterizes this season here, in between winter and spring. This one, pretty nice start, I would say. But the trees are not that pretty yet. If this concept I've just described rings a bell for you, please let me know in the comments. Here I'm always fighting a bit because it goes up so steeply to just go up the bridge. But the lowest gear of my sea line is sufficient. Lack of color again. Oh wait, there's some color at least. But that doesn't count as something positive about this season. If I'm not mistaken, the ducks are also shaking their heads about this scenery. At least I am well equipped with snacks and warmer clothes. One thing I particularly like about my commute to Ismaning is that there are multiple routes I can take, so I can have a bit of variation from day to day. For example, here through the forest, or another route along the Isar for a bit more, or no forest at all, so it never gets too boring. There my keen eyes spotted something. Another bird. Making the third bird on our trip today. That's a pheasant, I would say. As you might have already seen in the beginning of the video, I have made some stickers. One more positive thing about this intermediate season right now I really like is that there are no insects. We get bothered so quickly during summer by all the flies and mosquitoes, and I feel like I personally often tend to forget that in winter they are all not there. That's so nice and something we should appreciate, in my opinion. These greenhouses always remind me of the film Burning, a film by Lee Chang-dong. I can really recommend it to you if you like tense thrillers. Which brings me to another maybe positive thing about this season. Some of you pointed that out in the comments some time ago. If the weather is grey and it's not so beautiful outside, there's more time to just be inside and do things inside. Make it comfortable inside, read some books, watch some nice movies or TV shows, or organize things and make plans. At this point, some more shout out to Desiree, to Halvor and to Eben. That's how I like the subway the most, seeing it from the outside. Oh, another positive thing. The buildings blend in perfectly with the sky. Okay, just joking. They're okay, especially this very long part here with the glass. During the workday, the sky was clearing, so I was looking forward to my commute back home. And my tires all of a sudden have some interesting blue-grayish color. Alright, a recent purchase by me, a used Brooks B17 I bought to replace my C17 on the Brompton. And it looks just gorgeous. For lunch I went to Uncle Lou, Asian food on campus, and it was Mapo tofu day, my favorite of his dishes. Then finally, towards the late afternoon, the commute home, and the sky had cleared a lot. That was so much better than in the morning. I've pointed it out before in my other videos. For me it's such a big difference when there's clear sky and sunny weather compared to clouds. So on the way back I was motivated to do some pull-ups and dips on the calisthenics path here. I like to wear an ice mask while doing my stomach crunches. I can do 1,000 now. Please let me know in the comments which movie this quote was from. At that point I still had roughly 30 minutes left to catch the next train, so I was looking forward to a relaxed commute to Ismaning. Interesting how the road has been redone here, super bumpy. And another alternative route this time, where we avoid the cars as much as possible. At this point, a little question to my fellow Brompton owners. The so-called pentaclip that attaches the saddle to the seat post on the Brompton is making awful noises sometimes and has a little bit of play. The saddle is moving upwards and downwards just a little bit sometimes, and it makes an awful sound. Yeah, I followed all the instruction, I took it apart and put it back together, and it doesn't fix the problem. So the seller of my Brompton will send me a replacement part. Really nice, and I hope this will fix the issue. I was just wondering if you had the same problem. Alright, as I said, there was still some time left before the next train, so I decided to take my Brompton with me to the river. So my part for this little moment of carrying the bike and not the other way around. The sun was still there, barely. So just a moment to enjoy the spot. Also, another positive thing about this season and the weather, in my opinion, is that you don't tend to get sweaty so quickly. I mean, here I carried the Brompton and ran around a bit, and I'm one of these people who tend to sweat a lot in summer when it's warm, especially when it's warm and humid. And the colder season in this regard is also something to enjoy, because you simply don't sweat so quickly.
Do the speed record.
Attempt to break the speed limit here for a sad smiley, but I think I was unsuccessful. And the daily challenge of finding a seat in the local train that is often full of people coming from the airport. Successful. Back in Munich, another advantage of this part of the year, the beautiful sunsets. In general, something I appreciate is this change of seasons. If you see the positive things in different seasons, there's actually quite a lot of positive things in total, because they're all different, right? Also, what the people in Munich possibly enjoy right now is the strong beer festival, the Starkbierfest in German, which is taking place where I just cycled by. happy about my bright lights in this situation, and from here we conclude the ride. If you find more positive things about the little season between winter and spring, please let me know in the comments. There's one more positive thing. Warm soups like ramen or pho taste so much better when it's cold outside. I couldn't leave this out. There was another morning in this week full of sunlight. So here is a little direct comparison. If you go back to the beginning of the video, then you know what I'm talking about when I say that it's two different things, if it's sunlight or cloudy. Everything looks so much prettier. And although the trees are still colorless, I don't mind at all with sunlight like this. Even the buildings look better. And these crazy patterns here from the reflections, I love them. If you're wondering why I just didn't show you this part as the first part of the video, I still want to leave the gray weather in, because having it sometimes makes me appreciate the sunny weather even more. I mounted my new saddle, still with the faulty pentaclip, but it's so much more comfortable than the C17. I can't conclude today's video without some bonus material. So many vintage bikes standing around in Munich. Of course, I had to do something on mine as well. And this is a little sneak peek before my next video about this bike. So please stay tuned. Alright, and with this I now really finally want to conclude my video. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.